So, with regard to the Constitution, I think it's a great misconception that the Constitution is what defines our own actions. I feel that it is our own actions that define our Constitution. So I'm pushing more to bring great candidates into election because candidates are the catalyst for change in NJCL, not the Constitution. However, my plans to change the Constitution would include just reviewing it with Ms. Conklin. If you're here at the meeting where we discussed the new amendment, it turns out that our amendment had actually been in practice for quite a few years, and that we were just moving to make it part of the official Constitution since it was de facto law. So I would like to, if possible, make more changes to move de facto law into our Constitution.
Creed violate.
All right, I am very thrilled that you asked that question because that is the heart of my campaign. It is my plan to organize and create an online newsletter, released through the website, and this newsletter would feature articles written by each individual board member telling what their position is about, explaining the requirements, and kind of personality types that write for it, and also just giving a personal story that would make it seem appetizing and delicious to all you hungry JCLers out there. The reason that this is because as a parliamentarian, it is a bit difficult to promote offices that you yourself have not served. And so by allowing for people to read the personal experiences of offices that might not normally have contact with those people who are running for office, I would hope to encourage people to run for office and also to help them get a better understanding of what each office actually does. In addition, I would plan on contacting each state parliamentarian via email on a pretty rigid schedule, once in November at least, once in January at least, and once in March at least.
When Elliot first told me he was running for the National Parliamentarian, my first thought was, there's probably nobody better in this entire room to run this position. When I met Elliot, he was my predecessor as the Missouri JCL president, or not president, parliamentarian, that's the point. And he's probably the most charismatic, exuberant guy I've ever met. He's more dedicated than probably the president of the United States. Big statement, I know, just letting you know. Elliot and I share a love for music, and we both play in the scene where he's the guy I go to for everything I ever need. He also books shows and plays in them all the time, and he's a great saxophone player. You might see him in front of lunch playing. So without further ado, Elliot Wilson.
The position of parliamentarian is distinct in its dual nature. Since parliamentarians work with both the serious and disciplined management of the Constitution, as well as the more social and lighthearted encouragement of qualified students to run for office, it takes a very specific type of person to make a wonderful candidate. The goal of a student nominated for this position is to be both personable and professional, to exhibit responsibility and a reverence for the law, but to also know how to be friendly, approachable, and humorous. I am Elliot Wilson, the current president and former parliamentarian of the state of Missouri. In my term as parliamentarian, I suggested and passed more amendments and solicited more JCLers to run for state office than any of my predecessors in recent history. I am also the president of my local chapter and have been for the past 4 years. I was the inaugural president of my chapter and helped oversee and facilitate the creation of our local constitution. Here, some of you may know me as the guy who's trying to keep track of all the people he meets in this little notebook, or as the saxophonist you've been seeing around campus, or as the student with the wide variety of Latin jokes that really aren't funny at all. I am Elliot Wilson, and I strive to embody the description of the perfect parliamentarian that I previously mentioned. And I strive to serve you to the best of my ability. As parliamentarian, I would attempt to reach my goal of having at least 2 people run for each office by organizing an electronic newsletter featuring articles written by each officer about their positions. These first-hand accounts would reaffirm my own efforts to solicit qualified students to run. They would also allow for curious JCLers to hear the personal experiences of other officers. For after all, the curious JCLers are those who I am here to serve. I know that among us, There are hundreds and hundreds of potential candidates who just have not heard the right words, or have not been exposed to the information that will make you realize your potential for leadership. I know that for many of us, JCL is the one place where we fit in, the one place where we don't seem so bizarre and nerdy. This is where we become leaders, and it is an immense honor to give the opportunity to facilitate the discovery of your leadership. And I hope that you will vote for me. Thank you.